Hello and welcome to the Degenerate YouTube page. It's our college football week 8 best bets video. DGen and Steak are here again for your Friday late afternoon, fuck it, evening and Saturday morning viewing pleasure. We are presented by Pickett Sports. Download Pickett in your app store. Sync your sports books, track your wagers. Also, Line Shop. That's how I cured my. I shouldn't probably say that. People think I'm going to be serious, but I no longer have carpal tunnel or wrist issues because I don't have to open every sports book. You're laughing, but it's true.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
Anyways,
are being serious.
the ad read that Pickett never expected. Let's get into it. So if you are new here, we review the board every weekday, 10 a.m. Eastern on our Twitch and YouTube channel. We are not going to do that today. This is not what this video is. These are our best bets. Sorry, I have my window open. It's a little loud. And we are going to talk about our best bets in the marquee matchups. We're not going to go over every game like fucking App State and Charlotte or whatnot, unless Steak has a play. I know I don't. We do have some thoughts and some plays in Friday. We've already talked Friday. You can go back and watch our stream today. This is all about Saturday. Week 8. Let's enjoy it. We're about 66.6% of the way through college football, the college football season. After this, I know you hate when I do that, but it is reality. At least we have the playoff. So I'm not sad.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not sad.
I'm
All
a
right,
little
Steak. You're a little sad. Yeah. Our newsletter's out. We have 3 plays. If you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, please do so on the website, thedegenerateweekly.com. And last thing before we get into it, like this video. You see that thumbs up button, press it, click it, and subscribe to the YouTube page. In our newsletter, we had a hard time coming up with a decent amount of plays. By that, we typically like to do like between 5 and 7. 7's on the higher end. But it's a tough board. It's a really tough board. You and I aligned on 3 official plays. I think our head is still maybe in the same place with some games, but not too convincing. You like some things I'm not totally on board with, and vice versa. So we're going to talk about it and see where we land at the end of this video. First and foremost, we have to at least just touch on a couple of the noon games because there are some nasty ones, and I want to make sure 100%. Again, we're not going through every game on the slate. You have nothing in Boston College, UConn, a game which I asked if I should go to.
I like Boston College.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do like Boston College. I don't know that I want to keep losing money on Boston College like I've done all year, but I do think in this game it's a little bit of a overreaction to the fact that I think UConn scored 50 points last week and Boston College has been terrible. But I'm a firm believer that if you line these two teams up, Boston College is the better team. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think most people will be betting UConn. I like Boston College. They're coming off 41-10, 48-7 losses. So I don't think anyone's going to be clicking them, but I do think they're a nice, nasty play if you want to get gross.
Sure. I would say back in the day, Steak. I mean, again, if people don't know, we've been gambling together for 15 plus years, but I would say this would be an easy click for us. For the simple fact of a 1-5 football team is a -1.5 point favorite against a 4-2 team.
Yeah.
You would say that's like old school contrarian. The team with the horrendous record is the favorite against the team with the better record. So, yeah, I'm kind of with you. The only other thing to point out, and then we can move on, is UConn does not seem to be very good on the road. They beat Buffalo on the road. They lost to Delaware as 8.5 point favorites, and they lost to Syracuse, a horrendous loss. So, yeah, I'm kind of into it. Also, UConn's coming off of a bye. I don't really like betting on teams off of byes in college football. So, let's touch on another one real quick. Houston, Arizona. You didn't like Arizona. I texted you Arizona. You said no. I was kind of like I was a catcher. You were the pitcher. You shook it off. You didn't like that one. I just want to ask you something. Not quite like Boston College, but again, a 4-2 record team is the favorite against a 5-1 team in Houston who's at home. Do you think that line is weird?
Yes, and I want to be clear. I didn't mean no. It's just I'm still kind of hurting from Arizona last week. I really feel like I should have won that wager. And I'm a big Arizona guy. They would have been 5-1. They went to double overtime with BYU. I feel like BYU's got a horseshoe up their ass, man. Arizona really should have won that game. So I am a little salty, and that's why I said no, because I don't think I can go back to it again. But yeah, I like Arizona. You know how I feel about Arizona this year, and specifically Fafita and the offense. And they didn't lose them the game, that's for sure. Couple bad bounces, man. I don't like being that guy, but man, I really feel like Arizona should have beat BYU.
Yeah, I'm an idiot, and I tried to get cute and fade Houston last week after their 35-11 loss at home against Texas Tech. They went on the road against Oklahoma State. They were 14.5-point favorites. Oklahoma State has fired Gundy. Most people know that, but they were playing a former wide receiver at quarterback. A little bit of bad news. That shit's just not working like it used to. Houston did very well. They won 39-17. So I'm good on fading Houston, and I'm gonna pass on that. So again, marquee games. We'll talk about the big matchups. TCU plays Baylor. You're a Baylor guy. Baylor is 3-point are 3-point dogs. They're 4-2 on the season. They're 2-0 on the road against TCU, who I'm a big TCU guy, but not really feeling as good as I did after that week 1 win against North Carolina. TCU is 4-2 on the season. They're coming off a loss in which we said it felt like Kansas State. I don't know if you actually played it. Did you bet Kansas State last week?
Nah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't either. But we knew that was coming. I was really surprised to see that game was as high scoring as it was. It's kind of either a testament to TCU's defense starting to regress a little bit, or maybe, like we kind of pointed out, maybe Kansas State's getting right after that bye week. TCU's 3-point favorites at home against Baylor, total 64.5. Square over, obvious over. Do you think anybody's going to be on Baylor here?
I think people will be on Baylor for sure. TCU coming off that loss. People like Baylor, man. They like Sawyer Robertson. He's got to be real close to leading the nation in passing yards. He's got 2,100 in 6 games. He's really, really good. The defense is really, really horrible. And I'm just going to trust my eyeballs, man. I'm going to go square over. I don't think you could put this as high as USF North Texas or like in the 67, 68, even 70 range. So I think 65.5, which it sits right now, is about as high as you can make this line. And I'm going to take a square over, man. I don't think either of these defenses can stop either of these offenses. I think you could get a fucking slow start and this game could still go over.
Yeah. It should be said. I always wonder these things. You're right. Baylor's defense is not good. The last 2 weeks, I mean, they allowed 27 points to Oklahoma State. They allowed 34 to Kansas State. They did win the game, but they have not covered. They're 1-5 ATS. I do wonder sometimes these teams that come out of bye weeks that kind of needed the bye week. And I know Baylor, I mean, they have a good record. They're 4-2, and they've won 4 out of their last 5 games. The only loss being to Arizona State. You have to think that the defense was a point of emphasis. So I wonder if coming out of the bye week, the defense performs any better. That'll be something that I'd keep an eye on, but no official play for me.
I think it's a personnel issue, man.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough. There are surprisingly some really good games on this noon slate, even though it's kind of a gross board, but we like gross boards.
We say this every week. I feel like noon slates have been hitting this year.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Noon slate. Is this a scheduling thing? Are they front loading these college football slates? Like, for example, should Vandy LSU be at noon? Should with Michigan, Washington, and Duke, Georgia Tech? No, right?
I don't think so. I don't think all these games should be at noon. It's surprising.
All right. Well, let's talk about Michigan, Washington. Michigan are looks like they're 5.5-point favorites against Washington. I think you and I both like Michigan. It was they're down to 4.5 now. It was my decision to keep them out ultimately of the newsletter. I think that people are kind of sick and tired of Michigan shit, and myself included. I have their over wins. I have them as a long shot to win the Big 12 or Big 10. Sorry, I always do that. Not happening. Washington is an interesting team. They are 5-1. They're 3-3 ATS, and they were on the road at Maryland. They were 5.5-point favorites. I got involved with them, and they did not cover. They were terrible through 3 quarters, woke up. But then they went back and beat Rutgers. Steak. They were 10.5, 9.5-point favorites. You liked them. I liked them. Slow start. They beat Rutgers 38-19. The offense kind of woke up. I want to bet Michigan because I see this line and I almost see Washington getting disrespected because what has Michigan really done that's impressive? They beat New Mexico, Central Michigan, Nebraska by 3, and Wisconsin by 14. They haven't done dick.
I think winning at Nebraska is impressive.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. They're 2-4 ATS. I don't think anybody wants to lay points with Michigan. And there are things to like about this Washington team. So I thought, and I think you agree, Washington kind of seems appealing with 5.5. We thought they'd be a trendy dog, and we like to fade trendy dogs. But my eyes and my football brain tell me Michigan's just not that good with Sean Moore as the head coach. So I'm off.
Sure. I can find a lot more to be disappointed about with this Washington team than I can to like. And I'm a Damon Williams guy. I think I pointed him out to you in the bowl game last year as a guy that I really like, kind of like I did with Avery Johnson. Not that I was right about that guy, but I was an Avery Johnson guy. Huge game with Ohio State. They're getting all this sharp action. A lot of people, including Ohio State fans, think because of the home field advantage and the quarterback that Washington's good enough to compete in this game. They're not. They score 6 points, a complete stinker. And I know Ohio State's really good, but 6 points at home and your biggest game of the season is a drag. Then you go to play at Maryland. Tough travel spot, sure. Malik Washington, pretty awesome freshman, sure, but you start so slow in that one, which you really wouldn't think that they would have. And they did come back and win, and I guess you got to give them credit for that. And then in the Rutgers game, it's the same shit. You're back home, and you're thinking, okay, maybe we finally get to let loose on a team that has an awful defense, and they started slow there too. I think they were losing at half or tied at half or something, and yes, they got it going in the second half. They ran away with it, but to be honest with you, man, I'm just not all that impressed with Washington. And one thing I think that's the most important out of what I just said is you need to get an early lead on Michigan. You need to be up 2 scores against Michigan and then make Bryce Underwood throw the ball. But if you let him run, try to control the line of scrimmage, eat up clock, I actually like Michigan. And I don't trust Washington to do that. So for that reason, I think I have to take Michigan here.
Okay, let me ask you this. And I don't know that it correlates with what you're saying, but the total is kind of catching my eye. And it's 50.5, overs minus 115. You can even find 51 or 52 on Fanatics, but I think that might be a little high. Now, maybe not for Washington. Okay, you agree.
No, I agree for sure.
I'm looking at Michigan here, and I'm looking at all their totals. 49, 44, 43, 47.5, 43. Those were the totals in the first 5 games of the season until they played USC last week. 58, and the game stayed under. And Michigan only scored 13 points. Who is going to want to take a Michigan over right now?
Nobody.
I think that might be where the contrarian play is. And just from my eye test, I feel more comfortable doing this because I don't think Michigan's defense is that good. And I thought they were going to be good.
Yeah. And 30-27 against Nebraska in regulation. And I actually genuinely believe it'll be that style of game.
Yeah. Okay. I like the over on that. Here's a game that I can't wait to talk about this game with you. Vanderbilt, LSU.
The following event starts now.
That's okay. The cache the ESPN website video coming on the audio. All right, here we go. Looks like Vandy's down to 1.5. The total on this game is 48. I think this is the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that Vanderbilt has been a favorite to a conference opponent?
Well, no, that can't be right.
No, okay. What's the stat then?
Opponent?
Oh, maybe that's what it is. It's like the first time in the last 77. Okay, anyways, I'm butchering this fucking stat. Hopefully somebody can comment in the YouTube page what it is. I have it bookmarked. I'll pull up the tweet a little bit later. You think it's Vandy?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay.
I think everyone thinks it's Vandy. And I think Vandy is going to lose an ugly, gross, low-scoring game because I'm ready to admit I bought in. I was prisoner of the moment with LSU. I bought in to win the championship. That shit ain't happening. And I'll tell you why it's not happening. Garrett Nussmeier fucking sucks. He's not that good of a quarterback. He ain't him. However, I do like that Caden Durham guy, the running back for LSU, who was back last week. And if people don't know, they were in a dogfight at home with fucking South Carolina. They were in a dogfight with Florida. This team stinks. They scored 19 points against Ole Miss. Nussmeier stinks. But the defense is for real.
Mm-hmm.
This defense is for real. I like this defense a lot. And I got to tell you, man, at the end of the day, don't you just think that there are certain teams you play as underdogs and you don't play as favorites? I think Vandy might be that team.
That's a fair take.
Thank you.
Here's my take.
Okay.
No, you go first. Now, if you got more, please go ahead.
I had one more thing I want to say. I have faded Diego Pavia before, and it fucking sucks. And I just don't know if I want to do it again because he is so cool when he's rolling. And this Vandy team is they're just tough, they're nasty, and they never flop. You know, they didn't cover that 10.5 against Bama, but they still fucking hung with them, and Bama's really good. So now go ahead.
Okay. This is going to be stupid, but I'm going to say it anyways. Well, first of all, if I would have told you at the beginning of the year that LSU would be 5-1 when they start the year playing Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Clemson. They were number 10 in the country. And you would have said, well, that sounds perfectly fine. I would take that all day. Matter of fact, I'd still expect to be in the playoff. I assume by what you're telling me, Garrett Nussmeier is in the top 5 of odds for the Heisman Trophy, and they are heavily in contention to win the SEC, but they're none of those things. They're not going to win the SEC. Garrett Nussmeier is not going to win the Heisman, and LSU is not going to win the national championship. It's like one of these weird things where you can already sense the imminent doom for LSU, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And they play Vanderbilt, and then they play Texas A&M at home, at Alabama, at home against Arkansas, and at Oklahoma. I'm not necessarily trying to time up when this whole thing goes off the tracks. It's going to go off the tracks. And then for Vanderbilt, they just played at Alabama. And you know, when you bench, let's say you bench 185, right? And it feels hard. And then you bench 225, and then you go back to benching 185, and it feels easy. That's how I would describe going from at Alabama, getting to go home to play an anemic LSU offense. They're dog shit. They scored 20 against South Carolina. That was lucky. They weren't even that good. They scored 19 against Ole Miss. Awful. 20 against Florida when DJ Lagway throws 5 interceptions. How the fuck is that possible? 23 against Louisiana Tech. Like, they can't score the fucking ball on anybody, dude. They cannot. And I can't not take Vanderbilt. I cannot do it.
Fine. I'm not going to take fucking LSU, but I just don't think it's Vandy when they're fucking favorites.
I don't know that I'm playing it, and I don't know that you should either.
All right.
But I ain't betting LSU, dude. I ain't betting LSU.
All right. You're right. That was a good pitch. You're right. This offense is bad. It ain't going to get good overnight going on the road to Vanderbilt when they're going to be fired up. But it is a travesty that game is at noon. Okay, here's an official play for us. We're on Duke. And, you know, I'm not a Duke guy, but I'm ready to admit it. I'm not stubborn enough to sit here and tell you that Duke isn't good. They're good. Bence is fucking balling out of his mind. They're 4-2, and they put up 45, 38, and 45 points the last couple of weeks. Now, here's the one thing. There's a caveat, right? They played, well, Cal's not terrible. They played Cal. They played Syracuse with no quarterback, and they played NC State. NC State fucking blows. All right, they just do. I'm sorry. So the level of competition has been a little bit lower, but that's the ACC for you. So they're doing job. Good for them. In comes Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is 6-0. I am a Georgia Tech respecter. I like their coach. And you know what? I was wrong about Haynes King when he transferred from Texas A&M. This guy's not a great quarterback, but he's a fucking dog. All right. And we respect that around here. They are 6-0. I think I already mentioned that. They're 4-2 ATS. But talk about a couple teams that they've beaten so far. Virginia Tech struggle with Wake Forest on the road. Double-digit favorites had to go into overtime. Yeah, they beat Temple. They didn't cover. And what do we know about Clemson now? Clemson fucking blows. Duke is favored 4-2 against 6-0. Again, when you just look at that, simple enough, those are bets that we play. But there's a lot of football logic to like this. We put in the newsletter, Steak, this total is in the fucking 60s.
Yeah.
60s. Yeah. You know what that tells me?
Mence is going to put up points like he fucking always does.
You don't want Haynes King in a shootout. I think
you don't want Haynes King down 2 scores. That's for damn sure.
So anything else to add there?
You better hope to God they don't get down 2 scores, and you need this guy to throw the ball every down and not just run the quarterback draw through a motherfucker's face.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else to add, or is that pretty much our sell job?
Love Duke.
Yeah, I hate it, but I mean, I hate that we love Duke because they're good, and I hate to be wrong about them because I felt good about that fade. Okay, let's go to a home dog that we're on 12:45 in the afternoon, South Carolina. I'll let you do more of the talking on this one because I'm not a Mateer doubter just yet, but great fucking call on Texas last week. That was a bet led by you. I was happy to tail it. I felt uncomfortable, but that's what we got to do sometimes as sports bettors. Actually, you should do that more often than not. Take those uncomfortable plays. Mateer in Oklahoma only put up 6 points. And Arch Manning in Texas scored 20 in the second half to win 23-6. Now they go on the road against South Carolina before they start a brutal stretch of football game. Steak. South Carolina, you're going to have to tell me what you like about South Carolina, or is this strictly an Oklahoma fade?
It's an Oklahoma fade. Searching for things to like about South Carolina is tough. It's basically all potential. Like, Lenora Sellers has the potential to be explosive and make explosive plays. Nick Harbor does, but you haven't really seen it. They lost at Missouri, not that bad of a loss. They lost 31-7 to Vandy, and they only put up 10 against LSU. But like we said, LSU does have a really good defense. But don't get me wrong, South Carolina looked like shit last week. This is Oklahoma fade. I don't think Oklahoma's good. Wasn't impressed with Oklahoma at home against Auburn. You want to hear a crazy stat? And I heard it on Cover 3, so I want to make sure I give them credit. Yep. Oklahoma hasn't scored 2 touchdowns in a conference game in 3 seasons, 2 offensive touchdowns. Oklahoma hasn't scored 2 offensive touchdowns in a conference game in 3 seasons.
Okay, hold on. They didn't score. You mean more than 2?
Yes.
Okay, so they scored 2 against Auburn.
Yep, sorry, they have not scored more than 2.
More than 2. Holy shit.
And it's like the thing we really liked about them was the win against Michigan. USC's win against Michigan was way more impressive. We were blowing our load with John Mateer after putting up 24 at home on the mighty Michigan Wolverines. We're ready to hand him the Heisman, dude. He has as many touchdowns as interceptions. John Mateer's not that good. They played Temple, Kent State. They put up 6 against Texas, man. And they didn't look that good against Auburn. You know how much Auburn could have won that game. Now you look at Auburn, you see how mediocre they are. You see how mediocre Michigan. It's just there's nothing from the body of work for Oklahoma that I like. I don't think Oklahoma's good.
Well, hey, as someone with an under 7.5 Oklahoma win total, I hope you're right. But I'm just not ready to admit that John Mateer is not a good quarterback or worthy of that ranking in the Heisman before he got injured. But you might be right. I was making some facial expressions because I think you're right, and I hope you are. But I'm just, if I was John Mateer's parents listening to this right now, I'd be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do with it. I mean, Miller Moss's mom likes my stuff on Twitter.
That's true. She does. Okay. Let's so we're going to be on South Carolina +5. I think they were 5.5 earlier. So the line is a moving. By the way, Duke looks like they're up to 2.5. The degenerate syndicate continues. That's a joke. Very quickly, Steak, UCF 7.5 at home against West Virginia. Not that it's a marquee game, but it's the only one at 1 o'clock worth talking about. I'm off. Yep. Okay. 3 p.m. We got a couple games worth discussing. Funny enough, Northwestern at home against Purdue is kind of a fun game. Purdue has been better than they usually are. And Northwestern, as we know, well, they're 4-2 if you weren't aware of that, but they are also off of their massive win outright as a 21-point dog against Penn State. They have also played Tulane, Oregon, and beat UCLA at home 17-14. So they've seen some really tough competition. They're 3-point favorites at home against Purdue. I don't know what the fuck to think about this game, but I got to tell you, I can't, I'm thinking about it. You know, I'm thinking about this game. Purdue, let me tell you one more thing that I want to hear what you have to say. They played and covered against USC at home. They put up 30 points against Notre Dame. They lost 43-27 at Illinois, but they put up points, and they covered and gave Minnesota all they could handle on the road against Minnesota. Like, I want to find a reason to bet Purdue here, but I feel like that's probably a bad idea.
I can't do it. The only thing is, I'll say it reeks of a game that goes under, and I almost feel like 45.5 is a touch high just when you consider that Purdue Northwestern. I know some of the scores from the games. I know what you're going to say, specifically that Notre Dame game, I think was like, I don't remember the score. Like, was it 59-30 or something crazy?
I think 56-30.
So I understand why the total is what it is. Just when you think of a Purdue Northwestern game at Northwestern, you would think, under. But can I go back for 1 second? Because I forgot something that I think is really worth talking about.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, South Carolina over. So 20-10 last week against LSU, 22-6, Oklahoma, Texas. I feel like anything in the 40s is kind of high for these two teams that can't score the ball. And I want to point out another game that was kind of similar to this. The Florida Gators and the Texas Longhorns played. DJ Lagway and Arch Manning both having horrible years. I think DJ Lagway was coming off the game where he threw the 5 picks to LSU, and Arch Manning, I don't know exactly which game he was coming off of, but it was at 41.5, and I think they scored 51 in that game. This game almost gives me identical vibes to that game, so I kind of like the over in Oklahoma, South Carolina.
Okay. All right. I like the over in the Texas-Kentucky game. We'll talk about that in a second. It's kind of the same read you have, but just in a different game.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep moving. 3:30, Ole Miss, Georgia. The line tells me the Dogs are going to beat the fuck out of Ole Miss, but my heart wants Ole Miss to compete. And I want to just throw out reading lines and say Georgia is not that good this year. They're not the Georgia of old, not your granddaddy's Georgia, as we might say. And I don't think that they are capable of covering 7 points against Ole Miss after barely beating Auburn, which you just said is mediocre, getting the fucking refs on their side too, every which way possible. They won and covered against Kentucky 35-14. They lost outright to Bama. Then they needed a fucking comeback in overtime to beat Tennessee. Like the type of better I am and have been for a long time is you look at the line tells a story, and that's the way we go.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened a while ago when Hendon Hooker was at Tennessee. I know you remember this. Everybody was loading up on Tennessee at Georgia, and Georgia was 7 or 8 point favorites, and we played Georgia because we bet the line, not the team, and they covered. I'm getting deja vu, but fuck, man, we're Ole Miss guys.
Yeah, but at this point, I want to mention to you, Hendon Hooker had a lot more hype going in than Trinidad Chambliss and Ole Miss has right now.
True.
Given the fact that Trinidad Chambliss is the senior backup that no one had heard of before this year, and also the fact that they just played Washington State and could have lost that game, so they are coming off a sleeper. So the hype for Ole Miss, like if this was right after the LSU game and you had all the news about Whit Weeks dating Lane Kiffin's daughter and all the public, like I feel like it would have been a little different vibe on Ole Miss, but this week it feels different. I don't know that I think it's a line read. I think it's a coach read. You like Lane Kiffin in this game? Trying to give Kirby Smart his second home loss before November? I just don't think Lane Kiffin's built like that, man. Lane Kiffin had statistically a top 5 team last year with Jackson Dart at quarterback and lost to Kentucky and Billy Napier and couldn't make the playoffs. I love Lane Kiffin, man. Cool guy. Would never take him in a game like this. I would never take Lane Kiffin against Kirby Smart any day of the week.
I do hate when the Dogs get disrespected, and nobody's really that high on Georgia, but we talked about it going into the offseason. No one was that high on Ole Miss either, but you think they are now at 6-0?
No, it's really not necessarily what I'm saying. I really don't think so. I don't think it's a line read at all. Also, How about points? Why not points?
What about points?
Why not? Why can't we get some? You think these teams are stopping each other just because they had some bad outputs last week in the Auburn game or the Washington State game? Like, how are these teams stopping each other? Tennessee scored 41 on Georgia. Georgia can put up points. That's what was most surprising about the Auburn game. I mean, I came out of that game thinking like, oh, wow, that Auburn defense is legit.
I'll tell you why no points. Still backup quarterback Trinidad Chambliss, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I think he's the starter now.
So if I'm looking at Mississippi's schedule, they have played 4 straight home games.
Mm-hmm.
And he has not played it on the road. Yeah, but no, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Okay.
I think it's completely different to beat that crappy LSU team at home in Oxford than it is to go beat Kirby Smart in Athens.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'm off. Ohio State, 25-point favorites on the road against Wisconsin, total 40.5. I got nothing in this game. Ohio State's involved, so we got to talk about it. You like the nasty dog or no?
I don't think that spread's big enough at all. Wisconsin's horrible. I literally think Ohio State could be minus 31.5, but I wouldn't bat an eye whatsoever, but I'm not fucking with this game. Wisconsin is exceptionally bad. I just wonder where Wisconsin is headed or what their plan is because it just keeps getting worse and worse. They're an embarrassment.
I got to tell you, I forget who it was, but one of the guys on Cover 3 made a pretty good point. He said to cover 25 points on the road in a conference game, you have to do it with the intent to cover.
No, they did say that. That is
that was really good. You don't just stumble into that. Like, as bad as Wisconsin is, 25 points at home. And, I was going to say Ohio State's next game is Penn State. Are they overlooking this game? They did just go on the road and beat up Illinois. Not really, right? Yeah. All right. No, I think it's going to be one of those interesting games where like not a soul's on Wisconsin and they find a way to like lose this game.
28-7.
Yeah. Michigan, Wisconsin, Steak. Nobody was on Wisconsin there. 17.5. You took them. They lost by 14.
Yeah, exactly. But I agree with you. I don't think Ohio State has the intent to cover. I don't think they care. Ohio State is the number one team in the country, defending national champion. They just have to just keep rolling, and they probably will. And no one will care if they win 28-7 or if they win 42-7. No one will give a shit or feel any differently about them. And I will not be surprised, like you said, if they win a sloppy one.
Yep. All right. UNLV on the road against Boise State. Official play for us. We're on Boise State here. I love Boise State. This one, I guess, maybe is more so my contribution to the newsletter. I'm happy that you're on board with it because you've kind of been a UNLV guy, and I've liked what I've seen from them at times, but they're winning games. And I'm not even the biggest Dan Mullen fan, but Calandria has been a good quarterback. The team's putting up points. They're 6-0 for those that aren't familiar. 4-2 ATS. But Boise State's 3-0 at home, and they're 3-0 ATS. And I just think Boise State is a different team at home. They have gotten better as the season has progressed. They started out getting their ass kicked against USF. But what do we know about USF? They're a pretty damn good team. They lost 34-7. They went to Notre Dame. They lost 28-7. But they played their dicks off. They really did. That was a 14-7 game at halftime, 21-7 going into the fourth quarter. Madsen's not very good. Their offense isn't very good, but they responded well, put up 45 points a game after. And I just don't think UNLV is that team that's built to go on the road to a place like Boise and put up a fight. This reminds me of Kansas against West Virginia State. And we had Kansas in that game. They were 13-point favorites after West Virginia was riding high off that win on Pitt. Love Boise State here big.
If you give up 48 points at home to Air Force and 38 points to Miami of Ohio and 30-something points to Idaho State, it's not that I think Boise State is this juggernaut, but Boise State at home, they might score every time they touch the ball.
Yeah.
I actually believe that Boise State could score on every possession. Every time they have the ball, I will be expecting them to score. I don't think UNLV stops them.
Okay. Clemson 5.5 at home against SMU. No Klubnik.
It seems to be potentially no Klubnik. I don't know if it's official, but the line definitely tells you no Klubnik because when we talked about this earlier, it was 9.5, right?
Yep.
I'll pass.
Okay. North Texas at home, 4-point favorites against UTSA. Anything there?
Love, I think me and you both love going back to a team that burned all the sharps last week. All the sharps were on North Texas against USF. Then you get a chance to fade UTSA, man. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they just put up 60 against Rice. So it would be North Texas or nothing for me, but I don't have a lot more insight than that.
I'm on UTSA's win total over this year. I loved Owen McCown, and I still like him, but this team is frustrating. Maybe they figured something out. Maybe they didn't. This is going to be a big game for them. I'm not going to get involved. Arkansas at home, 7.5-point dogs against Texas A&M, 3:30 in the afternoon. You've told me not to fade Texas A&M. We cranked Hog last weekend after the bye, after firing Sam Pittman. They played Tennessee very tough. They were 12.5-point dogs, lost by 3, 7.5 at home. Trap?
Yes. If
Okay.
you crank Hog for more than 2 weeks, you should consult a physician. It's Texas A&M. They're still not getting respected, and Arkansas is everybody's trendy dog every week, it feels like. They were against Notre Dame. They got their ass kicked. I feel like the Arkansas hype cooled down just a little bit, that we could sneak in there and grab them against Tennessee. They didn't beat Tennessee, but they covered. And now they're at home against Texas A&M, and I got news for you. Everybody feels the way that we feel about Marcel Reed, and I don't think very many people are buying into Texas A&M being contenders. And I don't know if it's because they don't trust Marcel Reed, or it's just we've been here so many times with Texas A&M, and they're so often pretenders over contenders. But I got news for you, man. This team is fucking good. They're really good. Okay. And I do not think Arkansas is stopping Texas A&M. And I think, from what I've seen, I'm a Tennessee respecter. I'm a Joey Aguilar respecter. But from what I've seen now the last few weeks, I think there is a large gap between Texas A&M and Tennessee.
How about that total of 58.5 when Arkansas's last home game, Notre Dame put up 53 or 56, I forget, probably 53. And then they just played a game with 65 points. 58.5 seems low, right?
Yeah, that's because Texas A&M's defense is up there with the best in the country.
Yep. Indiana 27.5 at home against Michigan State. You got anything?
I think it's bait.
I think Michigan State would be the play. Michigan State or nothing there.
Yeah, you want to get gross. If you're like us, you want to get gross. You sell all the good news. You just beat Oregon. You just re-signed Signetti, and Michigan State's coming off a horrible loss. You want to get gross? it's Michigan State. That's the only reasoning I got, though.
Very well said. Texas Tech is on the road against Arizona State. We need this one, Steak. Texas Tech is 7.5-point favorites. If Sam Levitt is playing, I guess the line makes sense. Okay, I was going to say if he's not, that is short.
Yeah.
We got Arizona State under win total. I'm going to sit back and let that ride and hope Texas Tech wins. Any thoughts here? Total's 51.5. Nope.
I think Texas Tech is the real deal, man. I think they are the real deal.
Yeah, I think so too.
Doesn't mean I don't think that Arizona State could come within a score of this one. I don't really have a read on the game, but I am a Texas Tech respecter, and I don't see myself fading them much at all for the rest of the season.
Okay, very fair. UAB just fired Trent Dilfer, 21.5-point dogs against Memphis. You like that?
Nope.
Okay.
Nah, Memphis is my squad, man. They get disrespected too.
Okay. Your Florida Gators are at home, and they are playing also kind of your Blake Shapen, Jeff Libby, Mississippi State Bulldogs. What do you think about this spread? 9.5, 10 for the Gators. Is that a lot of respect? And the total is at 51, which I thought was kind of interesting. But then I looked into it a little bit more, and Mississippi State is, I guess they're involved with some games with higher totals, 58, 59, 60.5, 63.5 against Tennessee, which did go over. But the one thing I noticed, Steak, they only scored 9 points last week against Texas A&M on the road.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if this could be a little bit of a bounce back with both these offenses kind of trading off and having some fun after Florida has played LSU, Miami, Texas, and Texas A&M.
Ironically, both of these teams are coming off playing at College Station, which is funny. Mississippi State did it on the 4th and had a bye. Then the Gators just did it. The Gators moved the ball a hell of a lot better than Mississippi State did against Texas A&M, but Texas A&M handily beat them both. Apparently, this is the Fire Billy Napier Bowl. Win or lose, apparently he's gone. That's the rumors I'm hearing. You never know if they're true, but apparently this weekend is the weekend Billy Napier's gone. To be completely honest with you, as a Gators fan, that's the only thing I'm focused on. I don't give a shit if we beat Mississippi State by more than 10 points. I just want Billy Napier gone. I think the line's a little telling because I do think it looks kind of easy to press Mississippi State here, plus all those points.
Yeah, I agree. I like the over. I think this is like this could be like a 38-24 game Gators, you know?
Yeah, maybe both offenses will be like, isn't this so fun that we're not both playing at College Station right now?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Oregon 17.5 on the road in Piscataway, New Jersey against Rutgers, total 61. Kind of a high total, but I guess it makes a little bit of sense because Rutgers defense sucks. Any thoughts on that one?
I want to make a statement so it's put on record. So when it happens, because right now when I say it, I'm going to sound crazy, but I don't know that I'll sound crazy soon. I think Dan Lanning shtick is going to run its course soon. Dan Lanning has to do more than he's done. Dan Lanning at the University of Oregon has to play in a national championship game and win a national championship game. That's the way he talks, but he can't lose the games like he lost to Indiana. He can't lose the way he did to Ohio State in the playoff. The interviews and shit, it will get old quick if he's losing games the way they did to Indiana. With that being said, a guy like Dan Lanning, angry against a Rutgers defense that is that bad, does sound like a bad mix.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say like Rutgers is going to beat Oregon, but I am going to say like I'm not going to be shocked when Oregon loses a few more games. I won't be shocked if Oregon somehow doesn't make the playoff. Like I really won't be shocked. I don't think they're that good. I don't think Dante Moore is that good, and I think Dan Lanning has to sort of get like humble himself a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Listen, what we know now about Penn State is they're fucking awful, and Penn State almost beat this
exactly.
Game.
That's win.
I hammered Penn State because they have two fantastic running backs, and what I watched in the Northwestern game was Northwestern's ability to move the ball against Oregon. Preston Stone was just terrible. Either turned it over or they stalled drives and they couldn't score points until the late in the game in the fourth quarter. Callie McManus and even this running back for Rutgers, I forget his name. Is it like Holloway or something? Anyways, every time I look up, the guy has like, 10 carries for 86 yards or something. I think Rutgers can score.
Raymond.
Yeah. I think he could score. I think Rutgers can score. So whether I want them to cover like points, something about that game is intriguing to me.
Rutgers can definitely score. That is not their issue whatsoever. That's
true.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. 7:00. Listen, Penn State at Iowa. Don't give shit about fuck. I don't think I said that right. I don't care about anything with Iowa. I don't care who the opponent is. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't think you really love what I'm saying here, but James Franklin just got fired and Drew Aller is not playing. 2 negatives make a positive. Now, this is addition by subtraction at its peak. I have to take Penn State. I just do. You're never going to get this opportunity again. And where do you want to be? What side of history do you want to be on? Is Iowa really that good, man?
No.
Okay. Iowa's really not that good. I know Penn State isn't that good, but you have to get it. You have to get some sort of spark with what is going on there right now. You just have to. And I'm sorry, but I know that they did play Indiana very tough. Iowa did 20-15. It was a gross game. They played Rutgers at Rutgers and won. They lost to Iowa State. They beat Wisconsin 37-0, 4-2. That's all great. That's all dandy. I just think this is a terrible time to play a Penn State team. I got to get involved.
Okay, here's my pushback.
Right.
2 negatives make a positive, is what you said, right?
Yeah.
But firing James Franklin and losing Drew Aller are not negatives.
Oh, right.
They're positives.
Right.
They're 2 positives.
So 2 positives make a negative. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
That's top-notch shit right there.
That's good math. That's good math.
Good.
We're a math podcast.
Wouldn't
all right.
touch Penn State with the 10-foot pole. Couldn't pay me. Wouldn't do it with your money.
Well, I'm gonna do it with my money, and then I'll when I lose the next week when we recap, I'll say good job, Steak. Cool. UCLA's 3-point favorites at home against Maryland. I like UCLA. I'm just gonna say it. I like UCLA.
Totally fine. These are actually both teams that have officially made it on the no fade list. Can't fade UCLA right now, man. A lot of people thought maybe after the Penn State game that was a safe bet. They murked Michigan State, and Maryland's impossible to fade. Maryland should probably be 5-1. Malik Washington is the real deal. Mm-hmm. He really is awesome. 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1,500 yards. Nico looks awesome. Can't hate on the guy. Looks good. I mean, they're reborn, but do I have a play here, man? It's crazy because we got so lucky with that UCLA, Michigan State under. I sort of want to go under again. It's the same exact number. And I kind of want to take it again, 52.5. So that's the only thing I'm looking at, but
don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. That's a very, very good point. UCLA has a fun offense now. Maryland's got a fun quarterback. You're right. 53 is kind of low. Speaking of unders, Texas on the road against Kentucky, 43.5. Texas 13, 12.5 point favorites. I asked you about this. I asked you if this under was too obvious. You said yes. You know what? You're right. I'm taking the over. Who thinks Texas and Kentucky are scoring points? Who?
Nobody. I love it.
This has got to be a contrarian over. It's got to be. And as much as I'm not over here just playing contrarian plays left and right, I'll make some football brain and some logical decisions. I still like to go back to my roots. This would be a play right here. This will be like a 37-24 game that nobody really expects.
How about this for the Arch Manning get right game? And the only reason I say that is because they gave up 35 to Georgia, but Georgia could have scored a lot more, man. Georgia was a perfect example of a team that didn't give a shit about covering against Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And then they gave up 35 to South Carolina. And South Carolina ain't putting up points like that this year. They gave up 23 to Eastern Michigan, which isn't very good, and 30 to Ole Miss. I'll just present to you a world where the Kentucky fucking defense isn't very good, and Arch Manning, maybe it's the coming out party. I'm not trying to time up an Arch Manning coming out party, but yeah, Texas can put up points here, sure.
All right, I'm doing it. Alabama, Tennessee. I got nothing in this game. Alabama's an 8-point favorite, total 59. I like Ty Simpson. I like the Crimson Tide. It would be probably Alabama or nothing, but I don't want to fade Joey Aguilar. I like Tennessee too. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this game.
If Ty Simpson is the Heisman and who everybody says he is, how does he not put up points against this Tennessee team? Tennessee can't stop anybody.
So let me ask you a question. If I think that Ty Simpson is as good as everybody makes him out to be and as good as his Heisman odds are, I should stand on business and take Alabama's team total, right?
Sort of what I'm thinking.
All right, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
All right, Notre Dame, USC. You won't shut the fuck up about the Irish. You tried getting USC team total under in the newsletter. Hand up. I vetoed it. Total 60.5. I think there's going to be some weather for this game. Might be some rain, whatever, but apparently the numbers don't indicate that because I doubt it would be in the 60s if it's really going to be that bad. But I'm with you, man. I think CJ Carr is the real deal. Put up or shut up time. You played a couple of patty cakes with Boise State and NC State. You did what you're supposed to do. You went on the road and fucked up Arkansas. Here's your next big test after you failed against Miami and A&M. I think they pass it. But at the same time, I respect Maeva. I respect USC's offense and Notre Dame's defense. I know they played better the last 2 weeks, but God, it's not USC's offense they played against. Go ahead. I'm going to grab some water.
I'm about to be a full-blown CJ Carr glazer, and to some of the people who haven't listened to us before, just started listening to us before, DGen is a Notre Dame fan. And no, I do not usually make a habit out of supporting Notre Dame or any Notre Dame players. Like, I can't remember the last time I've honestly glazed a Notre Dame player or really loved anything Notre Dame did on offense. But I love CJ Carr. I really do. I love the development. I love the way they've let him loose. I think he's going to be a fucking superstar at one point. And he's not the only thing I like, because the beginning of the year, I literally was like, whoa, my God, what happened to this fucking vaunted Notre Dame defense? They're giving up everything they can to Carson Beck, and Marcel Reed and Texas A&M's dropping 38 on them. Then Purdue's dropping 30 on them. And then they hold Boise State to 7, and they shut down a pretty dynamic duo in CJ Bailey and Hollywood Smothers. So you take the combination of the defense getting right, CJ Carr getting better every week, and USC coming off their win of the year. Like, I don't care what you think about Michigan. That was a huge win for USC and Lincoln Riley. Big win beating Michigan for a school like USC. And I think they're going to struggle in this one, because I think the Notre Dame get-right defense is going to have a good showing. So, yeah, I like USC team total under, but I also don't want to take CJ Carr out of the equation. So I like Notre Dame minus 9.5 too. I think it's Notre Dame by murder.
I fucking hope you're right, man.
Yeah, it'd be cool if I was.
I really hope you're right. By the way, I don't know how to get out of this fucking light that's attacking me right now.
It's not that bad.
It's not. But you don't think anything is that bad. So
Come on.
All right, I'm gonna just sit like this. Okay. Love that. I hope you're right. And you know ball. If I was somebody who's watching this video unbiased, I'd be like, you know ball, because you're right. CJ Carr's development has been fantastic. The guy has it. And I was just so upset that they didn't let him rip it a little bit week 1 against Miami. All right.
Exactly.
Auburn, 2-point dogs at home against Missouri. Dude, you started saying you were becoming a Missouri guy and you're not going to stand on business. I might have to go out there and do it for you. 6 weeks, Missouri has played home games in a row. 6 weeks. This is their first road game. Unbelievable. I don't even care. I'm over the Jackson Arnold bullshit. I'm over Hugh Freeze. I like Missouri. What about you?
Cool. I can't stand on business, man. Bad spot. Don't like the spot coming off the Alabama game, emotional game at home, and you go to play at Auburn. And honestly, man, I think we said it. Like, these teams can't score on Auburn. Oklahoma didn't have a ton of success. Texas A&M, who's pretty much had success scoring on everyone, didn't have all that much success scoring on Auburn. So yeah, I think it's a really bad spot, and so I can't stand on business. But I'm going to root like hell for you, because I like Missouri, and I do want them to make the playoff. And there's just no way that happens if they don't win this one.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Steak, that's the board. That's the board for week 8.
Yeah, 47 minutes. I think we did really good.
Yeah, we did great. Listen, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like the stream, throw a comment in there, engage with it. It helps the algorithm. Subscribe to the page. Our official plays in the newsletter. If you want to read the write-ups, thedegenerateweekly.com, you can subscribe for free. Don't forget, we're presented by Pickett Sports. Track your wagers. Download Pickett. Use promo code DGen when you do. Steak, have a great weekend. Good luck on all your wagers, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
See ya.